Viewer, behold, today I bring you Divinity 2 Original Sin. Now, this game was developed by Larian Studios, and it's honestly a great game. Now, you've probably heard of Larian Studios from their success on Baldur's Gate 3. This is the game that came out before that, and it wasn't really as popular, nowhere near as popular as Baldur's Gate 3, but it was a fun RPG, and I played it back in the day, and I thought, why not do a video on it for its success? So the gameplay of the game is basically it's a combat RPG, and for those who don't know what that is, it's not like a role playing game where it's like action where you play as like Fallout or Skyrim or something like that. It's a game where you create a character or you play as a preset character and you pretty much fight in like a turn-based system, kind of like if you ever played Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of like the closest you can get to Dungeons and Dragons in the actual game, because the game is all about like dice rolling, and you don't really see the dice being rolled like you see in Baldur's Gate 3, but they're all invisible being rolled in the background. That's why some melee people go crazy because they keep missing their swings because they don't have good rolls. You can really see where like how they developed this new IP. Like they built this really cool world called Avalon, and there's multiple races. They have elves, dwarves, lizards, or you can play as undead too, which I think was the newer race in Original Sin, because Original Sin's actually an update to Divinity 2. And there's just so much like things you can do. So I'll focus right now. We'll talk about the character creation. So when you create your character, you pick your choice of race or the base characters I told you about. The base characters are like the characters you meet as companions, but if you want, you can play as them. And they kind of add a more role play element, because instead of making your own story for your custom character, you can play with this pre story. And NPCs and people in the game will react to you. Like if you pick a fawn and you walk towards this lady, she'll freak out because your Afon's apparently like a badass bandit, and she freaks the fuck out because she knows who he is and she's seen what he does. And you can like have like, and like I said, you have unique dialogue, so you can like cry and like freak her out, like, yeah, bitch, don't fuck with me, or you can be like, whoa, calm down, shut the fuck up, don't blow my cover. It's really up to you, and that's what I really like about like this kind of game. And if you don't have access to Baldur's Gate 3, I feel like you should definitely try this game out. But continuing off on character creation, because I don't want to get off on a rant. Um, you pretty much after you pick your character and what you want, you pick oh, I should get on to races too. So the races all differ. They have special abilities. So they have like that uniqueness for replayability. So the elves can are normal, like as you know, elves tall, majestic, all that shit. But they can actually their abilities are, what was it? They can eat limbs. Like they can eat other people's organs and limbs and see their memories and like see their lives from their eyes and gain skills from what they learn from that, which is, I think, is really really sick. And also they have the combat abilities that they like sacrifice a bit of their flesh, so they use like 20 HP and you gain the ability point, which is a pretty fair trade, especially if you have certain characters. You just that one AP is all you need to do to finish off a turn or finish off a move. So that's really nice. So then the other race is humans. Humans get an extra point when they start, and they also have the encourage passive. What encourage does is they pretty much encourage all their party members around them and give them bonus to health and bonus to defenses. So that's really nice. And then doors have like a stone touch. Anyway, so once you pick your race, you pick your class. And now the coolest thing about this is that they have a system where once you learn the way the class system works, you can actually make your own custom classes. You don't have to use the preset ones they give you, but all the preset ones they give you are all great. And that's another great thing about this game, is that you can pretty much customize your character however you want to play for that play style. Like if you want to play a thievery character, you can focus on scoundrel. If you want to play a just straight up fucking badass warrior, get a sword and a shield, and just with a bunch of heavy armor, and you're unfucking killable. And yeah, that's I think that's so much fun. I think there's so much combinations you can do with magic too. One thing I will say, and I think I'll just say it now, is that when you actually no, I'll get into it later when I talk about the gameplay. Actually, there you go. I'll say that for later. And there's also other things like skills like lore master. So like lore master means if you find items that you can't identify, your character can use a magnifying glass and see what it is, and then you can figure out what the item is. I usually don't use this. I kind of just focus on persuasion for my main guy and bartering for a salesman, and Lucky Find for a third guy, because Lucky Find is awesome. Lucky Find is it pretty much adds like some RNG to the game where anything you open or anything you touch has a chance to have something really cool in it. You also pick personality. So personalities like so the set characters you can't change personalities, but custom characters you can. And the personalities you pick two, which off the top of my head I remember is like scholar. So your character is like a knowledgeable guy, or noble. He's a noble, or like he's a sophisticated aristocrat. There's also outlaw, so he's like a bandit type dude, or jester, so he's like a jokester. And these are all just personalities you can pick. Those are the ones I remember. There's like a couple more. They're all fun, and they all add just new dialogue and just more, like I said, unique dialogue. And that's the name of the game. You're gonna be listening to a lot of dialogue in this game. Also instruments. There's instruments as well. So when you finalize your character, you get an instrument, and this instrument's like your special like main instrument that plays whenever you do something cool, like kill somebody or do something good, and it'll be like dun 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 dun, like like kind of like think of it like a victory sound. Oh, now let's get into the raw gameplay. So the gameplay is so the combat of the game is kind of like a RTS mixed with like JRPG type thing is the best way I can describe it for the way I can if you so you can picture in your head where like you get abilities based off moves, and you get ability points. So you get ability point that you get to spend per turn depending on how far you move. I think every 6 meters is one ability point. So you get to move when you move 14 meters, it costs 2 ability points, or maybe it could cost no, it costs 3 because it rounds to the lowest. So even if you have some a movement, you can move somewhere and have a little bit of movement left. So sometimes you could like inch a little further with for no cost, but if you are the maximum distance, and it's gonna cost you something. Attacking costs 2 AP, which isn't horrible, but like I said, like there's always gonna be times where like you're gonna have an extra AP left over, and you're gonna be like, fuck. That's why I'm being an elf passive. Anyways, you also get powers or abilities from your what class, whatever you picked for your class, like pyrokinesis is fire, uh earth thing, whatever earth is called for earth, warfare for melee. I think archery is called survival or something like that. And like you level those up, and the higher the number is, the more powerful abilities you can get from that type of thing. So the fire, I think the basic one is like they have like a little fire arrows where you shoot like 4 fire arrows or incinerate. And these moves are like they cost, usually depending on how strong they are, will cost 1 to 3 AP, and also have cooldowns, so you can't use them every other turn. So when you make a party, you want to make sure you focus on one type of damage, because so the damage, like I was saying earlier, the damage system, how it works is they have physical armor and magical armor, and then they have their health. And physical damage takes out physical armor, and magical damage takes out magical, or elemental damage takes out magical armor. And then you can get them to their health, and once they have that armor gone, you can enable status effects like bleed or resist or knockdown or other things like that. Just to just the FYI for you, because this is something I didn't know, so I would mix parties, and that's actually not very good. It would be harder. It would make fights a bit harder because they would have to knock down both bars. So just focus on per playthrough. Focus on one type of damage. Like just have a melee team and have a magic team. I feel like that's the best way to do it, and that's the way you'll just knock it out of the park. Also, you also don't even have to fight. Sometimes you can use dialogue. So as I said before, it's all dialogue choices. You can also use dialogue to pacify enemies and like stop the fight before they even start. Or maybe you want to start the fight, and it actually rewards you. It gives you XP for it gives you more XP for pacifying fights than just fighting them and killing them for the XP, which I think is nice. Or you could be a fucker and just pacify them, then kill them for double the XP. Hell yeah, dude! But that's up to you. Um, and like I said, another cool thing about the gameplay is that you can literally take anything that is not nailed down, and I'm not even fucking lying. Chairs, barrels, whatever the fuck you want. You can just grab that shit, put it in your pocket, and as long as you have strength, you can just carry it. I think that's I think that's really cool. You can see people doing some crazy shit. Like I've seen people like you can also stack stuff, which it's kind of useless in this game. I feel like because you can't really get on top of shit like you can in BG3. But anyways, yeah, that's really cool. I like how you can just take whatever. Also, you can be a thief if you want to get level be 3 in sneaking, which you can use to pick locks and like just get into places and just get into steal, go into people's pockets and just steal shit. And it's pretty fun. Like if you want to be like a thief, if you play a thief run, you can do that. You can totally do that. Also, like in Baldur's Gate 3, where people just pick up a bunch of fire barrels and then just put them around, you can do that too. That's really where it comes from. So yeah, like everything in this game, like I said, you're gonna be talking a lot, and there's gonna be a lot of interesting stories and interesting characters that you'll meet through your journey. And I feel like you're gonna find people you like, and you're gonna find companions you like. The companions are really cool. I told about Ifan, he's a cool outlaw, but you actually find out that he's actually a crusader for Lucian, and that when shit went south, he kind of had a lot of PTSD, so he retired and he's down. Then you have Sibel, who's like ex elven slave who like wants to find out the person who sold her from her family and kill them, and like you can help her out. And then there's the Red Prince, who's like the king of all lizards, or like wants to be the king of all lizards, and he's like is this arrogant bastard who's pretty funny and pretty cool, but he's a bastard. And then there's the Beast, who's fucking the Beast. Fuck, I love the Beast. I love Beast. Beast is probably awesome. You can't not like. Fane is like is a cool on that guy, and you find out he has a crazy backstory. That's all I'm gonna say. So let's get on to the story. So the story of the game, there's this world called Rivellon, and you are Godwoken, and your objective is to obtain divinity, but you are take sorcerers because sorcery the more sorcery that's used, it brings in the void, and the void is like these creatures who are like these crazy kind of like eldritch like monsters who want to like who gobble up and just mass. When you see them in like act 2, you see these guys fuck shit. Like it would be terrifying to fight one to be in like a civilian in this world. Like oh my goodness, like you see some crazy shit in that cave. I'm only showing Fortress stuff for this video, but like the game does not hold back with its score. I will say that without with no question. There's also romance stuff if you like romance games. If you want to be like a romance option, you can romance characters, all that stuff. You can also play with your friends, and you can romance your friends' characters, which I think is funny. And if you want to do that, you can go ahead. It's all up to you. You know what I'm saying? You have a wife. Actually, if you have a girlfriend or a wife or a friend or whatever, you can play a split screen. So that's really cool. I learned that too. Split screen was kind of hard to get into, but once you get into it, it's fun. The game is just a bundle of enjoyment, and time fucking flies when you play this game. Like sometimes I would start playing around like 9:30, 10, and that before I know it, it's like 3 a.m. So this game just eats time, and it's just a lot of fun seeing, exploring the world, and just taking it all in, seeing. It has a beautiful world. It has freedom of gameplay. It has so many things going for it, and the negatives are vastly minor compared to the positives. In fact, I can't even think of like much negativity on top of my head. Honestly, I really can't. The game is like probably one of my favorite games. I feel like this game should be a standard for most RPG games in general. Like this game itself, like if you're a newer developer, a newer guy, you gotta try this game. This game is just so good. And if you've played Baldur's Gate 3, you're doing yourself a disservice for not playing this game. The game really rewards creativity. Like, I found this one method where I could just teleport out of the Fort Joy by just going here, and going up, teleporting up this to this ladder. He brings it down. We all come up, and then we just all sneak out. And I feel like that's so cool that this game rewards that kind of creativity, and it's just another thing that just adds a bonus in like how cool this game is. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't watched it, if you watched the whole video, thank you so much for that. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for liking. If you like it, like it. If you haven't subscribed already, please give it a sub. Always makes me happy to see that number go up. Thank you guys so much, and peace.